What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Sales Remastered. My name is Daniel. I'm your host, and in this episode, I'm gonna dedicate to my sales junkies. I'm gonna talk about, in this video, setting goals. Yup, setting goals. And why I think that's important is because we find ourselves where typically most in sales set a goal for the month, right? This might be very common to you. Your sales manager or your team lead might currently be asking you, hey, what's your commitment for June, right? As we enter into the end of May, we're already planning for June. And so whether it's Friday, which is going to be June 1st, or it's right about today, they're going to be your manager, your lead, or your VP they're going to be focused on what you're going to commit to. And I'm going to share with you some hacks to ensure that not only do you hit the commitment that you set out for, but also wow your manager, wow your sales VP, or wow the person that took that commitment from you. And what I've noticed, at least in my experience in being in sales and all the many hundreds and thousands of times that I've personally ever set a goal or a commitment, and it is basically what it really does come down to is whether or not you accept that goal that you set to be likely or even be of reality. And what I have found, me personally, is that I used to be influenced to set my goals based on the perception of my manager, or based on the perception of my circle or my aisle or my friend. And so, this might sound familiar to you, like, hey, what'd you commit to, right? Oh, I committed to 8. And so when you hear that, and because it's your friend or because it's your colleague, or you have this belief that you guys are about the same, you might go with it, right? And that's just following instead of leading. And I believe personally, based on my experience, is that the only person that's really going to drive you to hit that goal is you. And so when you set your goal for June, you have to find something that's going to bond you with that goal, meaning that it's something that you genuinely want, right? And it could be the emotional tie that you have to that particular goal could be materialistic. It could be, to get a new car, or get a new house, or get a new shirt, or get a new phone. Whatever level of sale you're in, meaning that, every sale that you make right now, you might only get $20. Whereas like loan officers, you might make on average of $500 to a couple $1,000s per sale. But then again, there's a longer sales cycle, right? And so, in other words, in real estate, what you originate like right now in the first part of June very well may not go for the month of June. And so really what you're committing to is going into the month, looking at what's likely to fund and what's likely to finish and be considered a completed transaction. And so everyone's different based on their cycle, right? Based on their industry, based on their team lead and their platform that they operate on. But what stands true and what stays true is that you ultimately have full control over what goals you set and the likelihood of you hitting them goals, because the goal you set, dependent on the emotional tie that you have with that result of hitting that particular goal, is basically going to determine the likelihood of you even hitting that goal, or that goal even being realistic to you, what you believe you can hit. And so I'm gonna share with you a hack that has worked for me, and it's worked for my team, and it's worked for top leaders in my industry. So I know it's gonna work for you, especially if you got a quicker sales cycle. So if your sale, you from hello to completion of sale is like within a day or within a couple days, then this is definitely gonna help you. But ultimately, here's the hack, is that every single day is a new day. You have to understand that. And what I mean by that is, you might have a goal, let's say it's 12, right, for the month. And the reason why I use 12 is because it's easy to break it down. Whereas like 10, let's say your goal was 10, there has to be purpose as to why you want to hit that 10. Do you want to hit that 10, which equates out to about 2.5 sales per week? because there's 4 weeks in a month? Do you want to hit that 10 because your manager wants you to, or do you want to hit that 10 because you have a reason to hit that 10? And so your reason, again, could be materialistic. It could be just for ego. It could be for whatever reason you find fit. But whatever that reason is, there must be an emotional tie to the result of hitting that goal. And so, for example, it's like, you may have done, like, let's say a paper or an essay or a book report or a project that had a particular due date, right? And, human instinct, sometimes we procrastinate. It is what it is. But as you get closer to that due date, it lingers in your head, right? Like, man, I got that project, shit, it's due on Friday. Or, oh man, I got that project, damn, it's due in a couple days. We get closer and closer, right? But when we put ourselves in a position where our back is against the wall and we have an emotional tie to the result, and so if it was a project, then our emotional tie to the result is that we didn't want to fail, because our emotional tie was so that we didn't look like a fool, or we didn't get reprimanded because we didn't meet a particular deadline. Not only that, but we knew going in we had more than enough time to prepare and complete that project. But because we chose to procrastinate, it is our emotional tie to protect and shield ourselves and hide the fact that we procrastinated. So therefore, we'll sacrifice maybe the full day before in completing that particular project, but nonetheless, you put your head down and you get focused and you put in the grit that it takes to hit that completion, right? And so the same thing rings true with regards to your setting your goals. And so the reason why I say reset every day, whether your goal is 10, 12, you come up with that goal based on the outcome that you want. And so if your outcome is a particular number, like your goal from the beginning of this year was to make over 100 grand per year, then your goal on a monthly level may be just to hit 10 grand per month, right? And so you do the math and you figure out that in order to hit 10 per month, you needed to do, let's say, 12 units or 12 sales. And that netted you about 10 grand when you had commission, salary, base, overtime, whatever, you did your math. And so now you become emotionally tied to the outcome, because you understand that in order to hit your 6 figures, you need to hit the 5 figures that month, and that 5 figures is $10,000 in total income. And so after you did your math and you start reverse engineering and saying, okay, in order to get to this amount, I need to do this much per month. Now you got to break down that month's goal to a daily. And so if you don't know by now, every month pretty much has 20 business days. This is not considering if you work on the weekends. The weekend should be the icing on the cake. It should be the buffer. It should be the bonus. And so if you want to smash your goal, or if you need to catch up on your goal, then you have the weekend to fall back on. But if you're like me, I like my freedom. I love the ability to have my weekends off when I get my weekends off. And so I'm a smash it during the week because that drives me. But you might be, step above me. You might be like, yo, D, I ain't got no motherfucking choice. I got to hit my goal. Then boo-boo, go do that. Go hit it. Do above and beyond. But nonetheless, reset your mindset every single morning. And why I tell you to break it down every single day is because if your goal was, let's say 12, then ultimately what that breaks down to, 12 divided by 4 weeks in the month, ends up being what, 3 sales per week, right? And so in order to likely hit those 3 sales per week, you need to figure out what your conversion rate is from lead intake to sale. And sometimes there might be more milestones, like my case, for example, is lead intake to credit pull to lock, and then lock to submission, and then submission to fund. So there's a lot of different, stations that a particular prospect goes through in order for me to consider it a completed sale. But nonetheless, I know what my numbers are. And so I found that of every 5 leads that I intake, that I'm going to lock and submit at least 1 of those 5 leads. And so that means my conversion ratio is at 20%. It's always going to be like that. Numbers are numbers. This is where the science comes in. And so when you understand that you need to talk to 5 people in order to make 1 sale, and you know that you need 3 sales for that week, well then, to give yourself a buffer, to give yourself a padding, basically every single day you need to talk to 5 people. You need 5 leads, because 5 leads will generate 1 sale. Now, the challenging thing is though, is that because you break it down every single day, there's 2 sides of that coin. The first side is going to be like, is going to help you not linger or procrastinate. Because when you hold on to, like going into June, if you hold on to your goal of 12 and it's June 1st, which is Friday, ironically you may believe, or at least perceive, that you have a lot of time to hit your 12, so you're not going to necessarily go hard, right? And so that's the problem with holding on to your full goal for the full month, because what happens is around the mid-month, you notice how far you are from your goal. You're either going to make a decision to floor it, like go all out and just go ham with your hustle, or you're going to make the decision to ease up and maybe lessen your committed goal. And so, for example, if you are at mid-month and you only got 2 of your 12, then you might be like, there's no way I could hit 10 more. I'm just going to go ahead and settle for 8. And that becomes a challenge. So don't ever do that. Here's the hack, is that you break it down every single month. And so if I knew if I needed 3 sales per week, I'm going to give myself a buffer and say I need 1 sale per day. In order to hit my 1 sale per day, I need to talk to 5 leads, because my closing ratio is 20%. Your closing ratio might be different, boo-boo. So don't stick to my numbers. Find out what your numbers are. But in order to find out what your numbers are, you need to know your game. And so I hope to show you how to play this game. Sales is a beautiful thing, man. Sales is, it's not biased to your education. It's not biased to how you look. The only thing sales wants from you is just your enthusiasm, is your hustle, is your optimism, is your positivity, is your attitude, because companies understand that without sales is the only profit center. You know that? So if you're in sales, you're not a liability, right? You're not an operations role. You're not like the front desk clerk. Those are cost centers. Whereas sales will always be a profit center, because sales is what puts the product in the hands of the consumer. Sales is what creates the revenue. Revenue is the lifeline. It's the oxygen of your business. Your business will only grow. Your business will only scale. Your business will only keep its doors open if it consistently generates revenue. Well, guess what you and I do, boo-boo? We generate that revenue. We generate that rev. And when you learn how to generate that revenue, and you learn the science and the art of selling, you know what that does to you? It raises your equity. It enables you to get a job wherever you want. It enables you to get whatever it is you want, because you understand how to influence. You understand how to persuade. You understand how to sell an idea and influence a consumer to buy that idea or buy into that idea. And so I want to share with you how to do this skill. And I hope that this video has helped you. If it has, comment, like, subscribe, and share. Hit that bell so that way you're notified of any topics I do come up. And you'll notice that I'm on average of 1 or 2 videos per day. Not all of them may be, for you, but at least if you hit that bell, you'll get a notification of what that video title is, and you make a quick decision of whether or not you want to take a ride with me. And I hope you do. I hope you do take a ride with me, because there's so much more to come. And I invite you to go check out the sales script. There's a link below this video, and it says banker script, free sales script. Go check that out. Even if you're not a banker, go check it out, because it tells you the wordplay, and it shares with you some real fun facts on consumers' mindset and their buying decisions. And if you can understand how your consumers think, then you can understand how your consumers buy. And if you can understand how your consumers buy, well, guess what? You could sell each and every one of them. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.